if North Carolina's economy were a runner in a foot race, that it would be that guy who's wheezing and staggering at the back of the pack. Now, when I read that, I laughed, but as I read further, it's really not that funny.
No, it isn't, but the analogy, I think, is apt, that you have a runner who, he's in the back and he's wheezing, but he also may be fooling himself. He sees runners behind him. He's thinking, man, I'm really in competition, but of course they're getting ready to lap him. They've already run around the track once, and they're coming up after him again, and he thinks he's still in the race. When you talk to North Carolina politicians, and many people who've been around the establishment of North Carolina for decades, they still haven't really grasped the reality of the situation that North Carolina is in. They still are cheerleaders. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being proud of your state, but you shouldn't just be mindless boosters and think that North Carolina is the leader in this and the leader in that. It kind of gets pathetic when you point out to them, okay, you've talked a good game, but we have one of the worst economies in the United States, one of the highest unemployment rates. We had very weak income growth over the past decade. These are not statistics that an athlete should be proud of.
How did we get to this situation? 11% unemployment. Is it natural economic cycles, or did we actually do things to get ourselves here?
I think there's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. North Carolina, because it has for many years, almost a century, had a higher than usual amount of manufacturing. We were, of course, early on we were doing textiles and furniture and tobacco. Later we got into other things like auto parts and pharmaceuticals. Well, manufacturing is more cyclical than other parts of the economy. So when things are going well, manufacturing soars. When the economy cools, manufacturing really crashes. So you should expect North Carolina to have a little bit more unemployment during a recession than, say, the average state. But that doesn't explain why we have one of the highest unemployment rates in the country. Plenty of other manufacturing states have weathered the recession without nearly the job losses that North Carolina's had.
So what does explain it?
I think these are self-inflicted wounds. These are, to go back to that runner analogy, these are like politicians tying weights to the runner to make it harder and harder to move his feet.